Hey folks, it's Patriot Nurse. Thanks for joining me today in this video. We're going to discuss the direct role that the feminist revolution has had on making children as a whole more mentally unhinged and more of a violent society, culminating in the events like what we've seen this last week. So friends, right now, you can predict as sure as clockwork that after a major tragedy, the left is going to do what they do best: admit nothing, deny everything, make counter accusations. The feminists, in particular, have this nice little marriage, despite the fact that they hate the institution otherwise, unless it's with people who aren't men or women. The feminist revolution has brought us this unhingedness, and they're right now the progenitors of more of this anti-family woke agenda to disarm people further in the wake of tragedy. When you look back at the things that have manifested in our country since hypersexualizing women and getting them to embrace sexuality like men, that is, go and sleep with anything, and completely unhook getting pregnant, being nurturing, supporting life from that act, ever since they've done this, we've seen a net negative impact and result in not only the stability of the family, but its ripple effects into our society as a whole. Is it any wonder then that we have more and more young people committing serious acts of violent crime against other people, and not only that, struggling with major body integrity issues, which manifest in sexual confusion, biological confusion? We're not doing people any favors, obviously, in normalizing mental illness. But that is exactly what the left, these woke, crazy, screeching women who want to destroy everything that built the country and the culture in which they now conveniently and quite comfortably live. The Moms Demand Action groups, pink hat wearing, do you notice I'm wearing pink? It's because I'm taking it back. Conservative women wear pink too. The Moms Demand Action and the pink hat wearing types, their first thing, you know, predictably is going to be towards more gun control and towards banning assault weapons, whatever it is that they can direct their narrative towards of disarmament and subjugation. They're going to be all about it. But I submit to you that rather than play in their narrative and continue perpetuating the argument based on their presuppositions, that we kind of deconstruct this a little bit. Number one, they got their way and people got more screwed up. You wanted women in the workforce. You wanted women out of the home. You wanted women sleeping around with everybody to the point where they couldn't bond with their offspring, where they murdered their offspring, and where they didn't want offspring. And then you wonder now that mothers have to go back because of the economic impacts successive to doubling the workforce within a short amount of time. You wonder why moms are having to go back to work after 6 weeks, not getting to bond with their children, that we have massive issues of empathy deficits and the manifesting sociopathy and psychopathy like what you saw this last week. You want women liberated? Meaning, let's be real, turn them into men? But now we can't even figure what that is. So whatever, nullify the feminine, nullify life nurturing, normalize the nullification of life nurturing, and then celebrate everything else that destroys family, bonds, harmony, marriage, mothering. They are directly to blame for this. Directly to blame. Documented, replete throughout psychological studies, you will find that children who have been raised in a deficit of maternal attachment and maternal care are devoid of empathy at significantly higher rates than their counterparts who had mothering. The longer that a child is separated from its mother, the less sustained contact that it has in the early and formative months of its life, the less likely it is to develop proper empathy and social cueing. You see how this is directly correlating to an increase in psychological problems, to an increase in people not being able to figure out which bathroom to use, and then having that normalized by the same institutions who created en masse the milieu with which this epidemic of mental illness has been birthed in the first place. The same people parading to be able to hypersexualize and perform drag shows in front of children, these are the people trying to normalize disarmament en masse. There are individuals who are exceptions to this, but en masse, that is the case. The political alignment of that cohort is synergistic with the same one that seeks to disarm people and unite with socialism internationally, worldwide. So how do we combat this? Right now, I would like to speak to the women, the biological females, those who have a uterus, who menstruate and are capable of having children, since we have to define terms that are inherently biological, but now are up for debate. Ladies, it has been, in many cases, a reasonable assumption in times past that the men would defend us because we lived in close proximity. We lived in more of an agrarian society where families were close by and the man was near the home to be able to defend it. But because our world has shifted in many cases and our economy has shifted, we find ourselves in now cases where our children are being sent off to places beyond our sphere of immediate influence from a security standpoint. Many women are choosing to take their children out of schooling, public school or otherwise, and homeschool them, not only for more control over the narrative to prevent indoctrination from unwanted forces and ideologies, but also to be able to defend and protect their children. Because if the husband's away from home working, who's going to take care of these kids? Yeah, we feed them PB&J. Yeah, we teach them their ABCs. But ladies, I submit to you, we need to be carrying our pistols and working on our rifles too. The craziness over this past week that manifested in my beautiful state of Tennessee, that fight was ended with a rifle. The same rifle that Joe Biden, by the way, and his ilk want to prevent us as women from being able to use to defend our homes and to protect our children. But it's cool because Joe left over 300,000 of those rifles to a terrorist group, namely the Taliban in Afghanistan. And he's still supposed to have credibility to tell me what to use to defend my home. Bye, Joe. Forget it. We don't believe their narrative, ladies. We stick to our guns. Literally, figuratively, we stick to them. So I think in the times moving forward, the rejection of the feminist agenda, the rejection of their normalization of gender confusion, the rejection of their normalization of psychopathy, the rejection of their normalization of biological and body integrity confusion, and the embracing of our natural rights, the embracing of our constitutional rights as Americans, and the defiance against their narrative to turn women into men and men into God knows what. Feminine women. If you look at our archetype, Eve was called the mother of all living things. Life. We are about life as women, sustaining and supporting life. And the way that we sustain and support life includes owning our responsibility to protect, defend, and shield what is ours. The meanest, most fierce creatures in nature are mamas when their babies are threatened. So I think, ladies, if there's anything that we can learn over this past week, is that if we want a healthier society, it starts at home. But if we want more secure communities, we are every bit as active in that role as the men. We can still maintain and hold on to our femininity and carry a pistol and train with a rifle. Sure can. Who do you trust outside of your own home to have the best interests of your child and your family? Just us. Our responsibility to protect life is more than just in nourishing our children, physically providing for their appetites, their needs, feeding them. Nourishment is more than just the PB&J. Nourishment and education is more than just sending them off to school. I submit to you that owning our responsibility to defend our family and to protect our children is equally part of that. I hope the video was helpful for y'all today. If you did enjoy the video, I hope you'll subscribe to me here, Patriot Nurse, on YouTube. You can also stay with me and support me on Patreon and subscribe to our cryptocurrency and PayPal. If you want to train with me medically, you can train with me online. Got a course down below. I also have courses that I teach in person. I'm going to be in Knoxville, Tennessee, Lord willing, this year in April. And then also Keller, Dallas, Texas, Dallas area, Texas. Orem, Utah, which is the Salt Lake area. And then also Kalispell, Montana. Those are my traveling classes for this year. Full schedule's at the website, thepatriotnurse.com. Y'all, these people are unhinged. And I am very, very grateful, by the way. And I want to extend my sincere gratitude and thanks to the Nashville Police Department for responding and also to Officer Engelbert, I believe his name was, who ultimately put down this crazed thing. Since we can't figure out which pronoun to use, I'm going to call it it. I'm going to thank you for doing what you do, and for all the men who responded that day. This is a crazy world, y'all. Our place in it is to keep our feet firmly on the ground, to keep our hearts in a posture of prayer and submission to God, and never to any tyrant. For now, it's Patriot Nurse signing off. I'll see y'all later.